Hello and welcome to our news roundup for this evening. Algeria is about to experience new electoral deadlines. Scheduled for November 1st, the referendum on the revision of the country's fundamental law will be held in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution and the 2016 Organic Law on the Electoral Regime. As a reminder, Article 8 of the Constitution states that the constituent power belongs to the people. The same article states that the people exercise their sovereignty through the institutions that they give themselves. People also exercise it by means of referendum and through their elected representatives. The President of the Republic may directly resort to the expression of the people's will. Furthermore, Article 91(34) refers to the powers and prerogatives conferred by the provisions of the Constitution on the President of the Republic. Paragraph 8 states that the President may, on any matter of national importance, refer the matter to the people by referendum. In Article 2008 of the Constitution, it is mentioned that the revision of the Constitution is decided on the initiative of the President of the Republic. The National People's Assembly and the Council of the Nation, under the same conditions as the legislative text, voted in identical terms. The same article states that the constitutional revision is submitted by referendum to the approval of the people within 50 days of its adoption. The head of state promulgates this constitutional revision approved by the people. Article 209 also provides for the case where the referendum is rejected by the people and stipulates to this effect that the law on the draft constitutional revision rejected by the people becomes null and void, and that it cannot be submitted to the people again during the same legislature. Articles 149, 150 and 151 of the 2016 Organic Law on the Electoral Regime provide details on the conduct of the referendum. Article 149 of this law stipulates that voters are called by presidential decree 45 days before the date of the referendum. On August 12, the President of the Republic, who made amending the Constitution his priority, insisting on a consensual constitution, called on the members of the government and the governors to prepare for the referendum stage on the draft revised Constitution. The Prime Minister Abdelaziz Jarrad received the President of the National Council for Human Rights during this meeting. Bouzid Lazhari gave the Prime Minister a copy of the annual report on the situation of human rights in Algeria for the year 2019, in accordance with Article 199 of the Constitution. The Prime Minister Abdelaziz Jarrad chaired Monday evening in Algiers a ceremony of distinction for several artists and intellectuals. During this ceremony held at the Palace of Culture Mufti Zakaria, in the presence of members of the government, distinctions were awarded to many personalities from the world of arts and culture, such as the actor Sid Ahmed Mizian, also known as Agumi, the actress Nadia Talbi, the artist Bashir Yelis Shawish, the novelist Abdul Wahab Aisawi, winner of Booker 2020, the singer Miriam Wafa, and the researcher in cultural heritage Sid Ahmed Kirzabi. In this regard, Abdelaziz Jarrad said that the ceremony is just a symbolic tribute to great figures who devoted the cultural dimension through their works in film, theater, and singing. Prime Minister Abdelaziz Jarrad said that culture is an integral part of the economic reform process and one of the sources of wealth, especially since Algeria has considerable potential in this area. He added that they are determined to take advantage of the treasures of art and heritage as well as cultural spaces and cultural products to turn it into a productive sector, contributing to the process of economic revival. To this end, we rely on the experience and ambitions of artists, intellectuals, and cultural project bearers as true partners. Our cultural approach integrates the people of culture, and this is why we will plead with all our strength for an eminently important place of intellectuals in the crystallization of the expected change and in the consolidation of the foundation of the authentic Algerian culture, in consecration of the option of the President of the Republic of an authentic cultural model. He assured that starting from the duty of recognition to the leading figures of art and culture, artisans still today of the cultural diversity of Algeria, the people of culture will continue to be celebrated and their works and creations promoted and applauded. He also called on artists and intellectuals to be ambassadors of the beauty and creativity of Algeria and to work to promote national artistic works for the cultural influence of our country throughout the world. The Prime Minister said Saturday that the imperative promotion of the culture sector is an important milestone in the process of economic recovery. He called upon to promote and protect its components as well as the symbols of Algerian culture. However, the reality challenges us with regard to the imperative to quickly place the culture sector in an economic context. Culture is a driving force for the revival of the country's economy and the family of culture. The National Conference on Economic Recovery held on August 18th and 19th under the chairmanship of the President of the Republic Abdelmajid Tebboune made it possible to develop a new joint approach between the government and its socio-economic partners of the new foundations of the national growth model. On this occasion, the Prime Minister visited various stands organized as part of the Month of Intangible Heritage and the National Days of Algerian Traditional Costume. After an exchange with several craftsmen and model makers who explained their concerns, Jarrad highlighted the need to enhance the traditional dress as cultural heritage and national memory. Stressing the importance of encouraging artisans, he called for the promotion of the Algerian traditional dress, particularly by wearing it in international events. For her part, the Minister of Culture, Malika Bendouda, who recalled that culture is a factor of wealth, said that the orientation of the government implies for everyone to work to revitalize the culture landscape to make it an attractive sector for investment and capital. She said that the closing ceremony of the Intangible Heritage Days took place in the presence of ambassadors and representatives of friendly countries, presidential advisors, and members of the government, organized under the theme My Costume, My Memory, My Culture. The National Days of Algerian Traditional Costume will continue until the first week of September. This event, which began on August 10th under the auspices of the Ministry of Culture, is part of the Month of Intangible Heritage.
The Minister of Communication, spokesman of the government Ammar Belhamer, in an interview to the Russian press agency Sputnik, specified that the amendment of the constitution is among the popular demands of the Algerian society, as he explained that all consultations were done in a timely manner on all issues that would allow for the building of the new Algeria. The enrichment of the document will be carried out till completed with the establishment of its everlasting foundations before submitting it for popular referendum in November. Ammar Belhamer also talked about the return of Libya to the international scene, and the end of its crisis shall be a much-needed impulse for the Arab Maghreb Union, which is one of the objectives of the new Algeria. When asked about the King of Morocco, Mohammed VI initiative to settle the dispute with Algeria, the government spokesman assured that Algeria is in favor of any reunification, as he pleaded for a dialogue and respecting the sovereignty of each country, while avoiding interfering in the domestic affairs of each country. According to him, this approach shall obey the total respect of international charts and the decision of the international community in terms of protecting the peoples and the consecration of their right to self-determination, as it is the case for the Western Sahara issue. The Minister of Communication also talked about the bilateral relations of Algeria with Russia, which he described as very privileged, in favor of a continuous common cooperation. Algeria and Russia have maintained relations that could be best described as strategic and brotherly, at the same time, as he put it. For Ammar Belhamer, the COVID-19 health crisis, to which the world has been facing for months now, has put forward the quality of the Algerian-Russian relations, especially through the medical aid provided to Algeria. And finally, for the Palestinian issue, the Minister of Communication reminded the foreign political constant positions of Algeria and that it would remain with its people and government on the side of Palestinians and their rights. The three operators met today around the same table under an initiative of the Minister of Post and Telecommunications, with one main purpose: discussing all the problems that are reported in the sector, namely the disturbances that affect the network and the options available to improve the quality of services. The Minister of Post and Telecommunications said in a statement to the media that a lot of work has been done since the beginning of this year in collaboration with the National Agency for Frequencies to release more frequencies that will be then allocated to operators by the Regulation Authority to ensure a better internet broadband and a better service quality in the coming months. New frequencies are a solution that will end the disturbances that were affecting the network these recent days. News that will be very welcomed by all operators. A strategic necessary choice for the development of the uses of communication and information technologies to lead progress toward the digital economy and the expansion of the e-commerce horizons. In the national news, review sessions were initiated in preparation for the proceedings of national official exams. The Minister of National Education said again that his commitment to ensure the safety of students and all education personnel through a strict compliance with health protocols implemented by the Education Department for the prevention against the spreading of the coronavirus. The government and all local authorities are allocating all means to provide all necessary equipment to the implementation of the required health protocol for the proper progress of the said deadlines, assured the minister during a visit to several educational establishments in Algiers, while hailing the compliance with health measures and the ensuring of the availability of health safety equipment, namely the wearing of masks, social distancing, and the taking of temperatures at the entry of each establishment. As a reminder, the middle school final exams were scheduled for September the 7th and the baccalaureate for the 13th of September. The common academic school year is planned to begin on the upcoming October the 4th.
The students of middle and secondary cycles joined the school in order to prepare for middle school final exam and baccalaureate exam. In Oran municipality, Western Algeria, the launch of the review sessions took place under special conditions, marked by the respect of the preventive measures imposed by the current health situation. The conditions were met and all health arrangements have been taken for this return to schools. Tables were set apart and all health protocols were implemented. More than 47,900 candidates will take the two exams. 160 exam centers and more than 2,500 classrooms were subject to strict application of the health protocols against COVID-19. The resumption also concerns universities that are preparing to welcome students in this particular health crisis marked by the coronavirus pandemic. The University of Abdurrahman Mahri in Constantine Province, Eastern Algeria, planned several preventive measures. Students will have to respect the new barrier measures and the wearing of face masks. Disinfection operation will be done every hour as of entering university and also upon leaving. This sanitary protocol initiated by the Ministry of Higher Education concerns all Algerian universities.
For the 25th of August 2020, 317 new confirmed cases, including 10 new deaths, have been reported in the last 24 hours, according to the spokesman of the scientific committee in charge of monitoring the evolution of COVID-19 pandemic, Professor Jamal Fourar. He added that in the last 24 hours, 23 provinces have reported no new cases, 12 provinces have registered between 1 and 9 cases, and 13 other provinces have recorded more than 10 cases. 218 patients have recovered, which brings up the total number of cured patients to 29,587, while 31 are in intensive care. To conclude, Professor Jamal Fourar stressed the necessity to remain vigilant and to observe healthy measures and the mandatory wearing of face masks. As part of the fight against terrorism, detachments of the National People's Army (ANP) discovered and destroyed 7 bunkers in Boumerdès and Batna and 4 homemade bombs in Médéa under 2 searches and combing operations. In the context of combating smuggling and organized crime, border guards arrested a large quantity of treated Kiev amounting to 4 quintals and 61.5 kilograms near Jnan Bourizg in the province of N'Ama. National Security Services arrested during separate operations in Tlemcen, Ain Timouchent, N'Ama, Constantine and Bashar 8 drug traffickers and seized 1 quintal and 42.6 kilograms of treated Kiev. In the same context, a combined detachment of the National People's Army seized 4-wheel drive vehicles loaded with a large quantity of psychotropic drugs amounting to 731,843 tablets, while 8 drug traffickers in possession of 21,859 tablets of the same substance were captured in Wergla, Ghilizan, Constantine, Batna and Tindouf. In Tamnarast, Ain Gizam, Borj Beji Mukhtar and Jannat, a detachment of the National People's Army (ANP) arrested 4 individuals and seized 2 truck and 4-wheel drive vehicles, 63 electric generators and 25 jackhammers, 57 kg of explosive products, 1 ton of mixture of stones and raw gold and other equipment used in illegal gold mining operations, in addition to 57.06 tons of foodstuffs intended for smuggling, while quantities of fuel amounting to 9,636 liters were seized in Tebessa, Souq Haras, Tarif, Borj Beji Mukhtar and Tindouf. Moreover, the Coast Guard and the National Gendarmerie succeeded in thwarting illegal immigration attempts and rescued 329 people on inflatable boats in Oran, Mustaghanim, Tlemcen and Ain Timushint and At-Tarif, while 69 illegal immigrants of different nationalities were arrested in Tlemcen, Ain Gizam and Tamanrast. After a few days of the Israeli siege imposed on Gaza Strip and the ban on supplying them of fuel, the electrical stations stopped their activities and the beginning of the Palestinian suffering began, and it was a foreshadowing of a humanitarian and environmental disaster, including the postponement of operations in hospitals. The Gazawi are entitled to only 3 hours of electricity a day. In addition to the daily hassles due to the lack of electricity, they also face water scarcity. In addition to the siege, it appears that the distress of Gaza residents faces a roundback of the international organizations, which led to the suffering of millions of Palestinians of all ages from the pain of Israeli colonialism. That's it for our news roundup. Thanks for joining us. Good night.